Welcome to a special 8-part series of the Banking Transformed podcast, recorded at Meridian Link Live in Nashville, Tennessee. I'm your host, Jim Marous. During this series of episodes, we dive deep into the world of digital transformation in the financial services industry. We speak with executives from a diverse range of financial institutions, each of whom has embarked on a unique digital transformation journey to become more future-ready and responsive to the changing needs of their customers. We explore the strategies, challenges, and lessons learned by these forward-thinking organizations as they navigate the complex landscape of digital transformation. Whether you're a financial services professional, a fintech entrepreneur, or simply interested in the future of banking, this series provides you with valuable insights and inspiration as we explore the cutting edge of digital transformation in the banking industry. We hope you enjoy these candid conversations with organizations of all sizes. Jim Marous from the Banking Transformed podcast. Today I'm coming from Meridian Link Live in Nashville, Tennessee at the Gaylord Hotel. This is filled with like 1,700 financial institution executives that are sharing ideas, insights, and experiences as to how their digital transformation process is going. In addition, they're listening to sessions from those who have implemented ahead of them and some new ideas are coming down the way. We also have solution providers of Meridian Link here to show their wares. So there's a little bit of everything. It's a big conference, to say the least, and there's a lot of energy coming from it. So today, I have Robert Watts from D.L. Evans Bank. So, for myself and for the others, where's D.L. Evans Bank?
Well, thanks, Jim. So D.L. Evans Bank is based out of southern Idaho. We cover southern Idaho and northern Utah as our territory. For those that are familiar with the state, basically everything from Boise to the Orem-Provo area.
And your organization is how big again?
So our asset side is barely over $3 billion in assets.
Okay, and how many branches?
43, I believe.
Okay, so it gives you a perspective of size, not too large, not too small.
Right.
And you're a bank as opposed to a credit union. So tell me a little bit about your career path and how you got to where you are today and what you're doing today.
Sure. So I've been with the bank 18 years. As a credit administrator, I came through a different career path. I started in the compliance department, doing HMDA verification and fair lending review, branch audits, and just got involved with technology as we switched technology back in 2006 as part of the team that kind of led that change. And really kind of got my foot in the door with the credit admin side. And then in 2010, I got hired to the consumer credit administrative position and been there ever since. So
that's kind of an interesting switch.
It is.
Doesn't usually come that way. And it's interesting because the discussion we have around this is the fact that your organization is really progressively trying to embrace change, automation, instant decisioning, all these things that in your old role would have kept you up at night to a degree.
Right.
And maybe if you're right in last into the process, you'd be the one who goes, no, I'm okay with this. And so how do you balance that within yourself where you're trying to move the process forward? And it probably works for you because you still have to keep the whole issue of risk, fraud, compliance, all those things at the forefront. But how do you balance those? Because really, the consumer wants speed of accessibility and of funding. What you're trying to do is make sure, yeah, I understand it, but I got to keep it safe.
Right.
How do you deal with that?
It's a challenge. Balancing the compliance aspect versus the risk and just making sure the customer needs are also met. My mindset is very much black and white, which made me really good in the compliance world. It's been a challenge being a credit administrator, letting that gray area kind of grow a little bit. But really, I guess, so a lot of our consumer applications or needs are coming from our commercial and ag customers to meet their consumer needs. So whether they need a car loan, a credit card, their kids need loans, that's really where our portfolio has grown on the consumer side. But really just having the customer relationships that we have, I think is kind of the balance there is, so we don't have the compliance challenges because they're our customers, we want to take care of them. But at the same time, we don't have the risk because they're not necessarily a new customer coming off the street that we have to do a bunch of due diligence on. We've had the relationships for, 20, 30, 40 years sometimes, so.
So from what I understand, your modernization process of the consumer loan side, is pretty progressive. You've done well in that area, and you've made it easier for people to get loans. How easy is it for a current customer to get a new loan if they're already a customer, and those who aren't are new for the process?
Yeah. So our process really doesn't differ whether you're a new customer or an existing customer. So we have ways to apply online. They can come into a branch and apply. Regardless of whether they're new or returning or new or existing, it's the same process. We're looking to add efficiencies to try to make for the existing customers a little bit smoother with connectivity to our core processor and getting their information to flood into the application system. But really just taking the application, trying to use MeridianLink's application to, I guess, really trim the fat, so to speak, to just ask the specific questions that we need to make the process very smooth and straightforward. Kind of makes it a little bit easier to get around some of those hurdles.
You also have instant decisioning, so once they get through the process,
right,
they can find out immediately how they're doing.
Yeah, so a customer that applies online, it'll come back with their credit score and basically give them a credit approval, letting them know that everything's good to go forward. We do have our communication basically come back to them saying your credit approved, but we may still need income verification or something of that nature, so they know the process isn't quite done yet, but that they are approved and good to go forward. And really, since we've implemented instant decisioning, we've gone from, I think when I started back in 2010, we were doing maybe 100, 200 applications a year to now, last year we were probably around 300 applications a month. So
you beat me to the question, which was, have you seen the impact on the volume? And you basically have.
Yes.
And so would you attribute that to the fact that in the past you may have lost people in the process because it was innately slow, and now it's streamlined enough that people aren't they're not leaving their shopping cart empty, so to speak?
Yeah, I think that's part of it. I think some of it too was just the focus. So until I took over my position that I have now, there wasn't really a direct focus on the consumer aspect. Whereas now we focus on it, we market on it, we have processes for it, streamlined procedures for online applications, the instant decisioning, just that quick turnaround response really can allow us to compete better with those turnaround times.
So when I speak to large groups, I talk about the fact that you need to bring compliance into the front end of processes so you can have them be part of the team to implement something that's going to pass muster at the end.
Right.
You kind of do that based on your background.
Right.
When you're selecting partners, knowing that you're also looking and saying, I got my right brain and my left brain, and one's saying I need it as fast and easy as possible. I want a seamless transition. I got to believe in all the process along the way and make it faster and easier for the consumer. But on the other hand, you're going, got to make sure this compliance. You almost, I would imagine, to a degree, educate your partners along that line, whoever it is, be it MeridianLink or anybody else. How do you make your decision as far as how good a partner is? Is speed going to win out? Is the ability to pass muster on a compliance basis without very much tweaking going to win out? Or is it a blend? How do you look at that?
Yeah, I think it's got to be a blend of everything. So obviously you need the speed to get the customer a quick response. You've got to have the compliance aspect of it to keep regulators from being too hard on you for decisions, but at the same time also managing the risk that the bank has as well. So there's kind of a three-pronged approach. You've got the customer, the regulator, and the bank, all that kind of have to work in tandem with each other. As far as knowing what vendor to go forward with, typically what we do is we have a whole management team that comes together from compliance, lending, marketing, whatever departments might be touched, and they all have the same amount of input on whether it's a good fit, whether it's a product we go forward with, whether it's going to meet the needs that we're looking for or not, and then we make a decision at that point.
So as you look at the process right now, and you look at where you are in the process, What do you see going forward that you're looking to enhance your loan operations process and your deliverable to the consumer? What are you looking at as being the next big thing you need to do at your organization?
Yeah, so although we have instant decisioning, I think there's definitely improvements that we can make. Different vendors we can pull into the framework to make the speed even that much quicker, remove some of the redundancy aspect of it, whether it's verification of income, verification of employment, manual underwriting versus automated underwriting.
So the beginning part of that whole process, as opposed to simply instant decisioning, is great if it comes at the tail end of other aspects that are simplified and fast, right?
Right. Yeah, one other thing that we've done is, so about 2 or 3 years ago, one of the branch locations that we have is an actual digital branch location. So they're housed out of our corporate office. That's all they do is the online applications. So for those applications coming in, it allows a certain department to grab those, pick them up quicker, make a quicker decision, as opposed to maybe falling through the cracks on a branch loan pipeline that maybe they're focusing on, larger commercial customers as opposed to the consumer deals. And so that way that digital department can pick those up and get a quick response.
So we're in a process of ongoing digital transformation in the bank system. Everybody's having to do it. There's a lot of challenges. What are some of the challenges that you've met in the process of changing your stripes? Not what your overall master plan is and what your brand is, but changing the way you do certain things within that framework. What's been the biggest challenge?
I think a lot of it just comes down to finding the right fit. So for an example, before we were with MeridianLink, we were a CRIF client, which MeridianLink acquired back in 2018, which CRIF was a great company. They were good to work with. They were probably a little bit more focused on the community bank side than MeridianLink was. I think as they acquired CRIF, they've kind of had to shift focus a little bit and take our viewpoint into perspective as opposed to just the credit union. And sometimes there's been challenges there as far as, the way a bank operates as opposed to a credit union operates. And so trying to work through some of those hurdles, making things, efficient, smooth for both parties. What's
been the challenge within your organization as you implement these changes? I say it almost every podcast. Change sucks.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
No, nobody likes change.
But unfortunately, the consumer doesn't see it that way. They're wanting change every day, and they're comparing the way you do your business with how their streaming TV does their business, how Amazon does their business, how Uber does their business, how the airline you took to get here and the hotel that you're staying at has done their business. It sets the bar higher and higher.
Sure.
What overall have you seen that really has been impactful to how you run your business? What are you seeing going forward that you're going to have to do, not just the back office change, but how do you make that all implement from an employee standpoint where they're feeling comfortable with what's going on?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is, because as customers, we don't really like to give out our information. We don't like to wait. We don't like to, we want everything now and we want everything as soon as possible. And so I think the quicker we can make a decision, the quicker we can get them their loan and the money that they need to make whatever purchase they need, the better off we'll be. And sometimes there's challenges involved with that because, kind of back to some of the topics we've already touched on, is there's the regulatory aspect, there's, internal processes that we have to deal with, that sometimes the bank has to give up some of those traditional processes and go more to a new modern aspect of things and really kind of look to make a philosophy switch or I guess really just kind of a mindset shift to get more up to speed with things.
It changes all the time, and you're a very interesting part of the country that there's within the people, within the organization, within the states, you have a lot of legacy thought patterns that want to modernize. You have this fight because you have great universities in the area that put out a whole lot of new minds out there on a daily basis, and you have to respond to those people as well.
Right.
Finally, when you look at banking going forward and you look at the organization trying to do the same thing you've done, what recommendations would you give to other financial institutions that are embarking upon their loan transformation journey, instant decisioning, the entire customer experience?
I think the biggest thing is not trying to tackle everything all at once, and really knowing who you are as an institution. When we implemented it, we didn't really do anything that wasn't outside of the norm for the institution. For example, real estate loans, we still offer those, but we don't instant decision on those type of credits because they're a little bit more risk, a little bit more to review. And so we didn't fully implement instant decision on those. We have some smaller dollar volume that will allow instant decisioning on, but we didn't apply instant decisioning across the board because we weren't comfortable with it.
Right.
So kind of knowing what you're comfortable with, what your institution is looking to accomplish, and then just working towards it. And once you accomplish that, move on to the next piece of it and just do it step by step.
Thank you so much for being on the show. It's great talking to you. And it's interesting hearing the inner battles that kind of go on when your legacy thought pattern is the avoidance of risk, and now you're really moving towards more of a management of risk, which is a very major change in the way you look at things. But it also gives you a perspective that others may not have on how you got to keep the balls rolling, right. But you got to stick to your knitting. You got to stick to your knitting to get done. Thank you so much for being on the show. Appreciate it. Yep. Thanks for listening to Banking Transform, the top podcast in retail banking and the winner of 3 international awards for podcast excellence. We appreciate the support we've received from Meridian Link in making this 8-part series of episodes a success. This has been a production of Evergreen Podcast. A special thank you to our senior producer, Leah Hassage, director, Dave Douglas, audio engineer, Chris Fafalius, and video producer, Will Pritz. Thanks for joining us, and until next time, keep innovating and transforming.